in the beautiful Umbrian countryside at the house of Martinozzi di Sopra, where I have the pleasure of interviewing Alison and Simon Taylor. We'll meet them shortly. See you there. So today we're with Alison and Simon, and very nice to meet you both today. Would you like to tell us a little bit about yourselves and your wonderful property?
Oh, thank you. It's great to be here. I'm Alison Taylor. This is Simon Taylor. We're both Australian, but we live in Dallas, Texas, and I work for a Fortune 500 company there in Dallas, which we've been enjoying. And we just recently bought a property in Umbria with Great Estates.
Fantastic. I understand that the sale of Martinozzi di Sopra was conducted entirely online. How did you both feel about the process?
Well, at first I was a bit nervous because you're looking during the pandemic, and we'd been looking pre-pandemic and had visited Italy during that. But actually once we met virtually, Roberto, I felt much better about it because he was just so tenacious and just so practical and honest with his evaluations of the properties we were looking at.
Yes. It's very detailed with everything we asked. He was able to give us an answer. Also, the only thing that was a little bit different was that the videos didn't show what a wonderful view it is. Until you get here, you just don't really appreciate just how good it is.
I try to do my best.
That is true. The view is spectacular. You can't deny it. The view is...
Roberto even put a GoPro on his head and drove on, you saw this driveway into the property so that we could see the entrance, and then he would come at different times of day because wanted to see the different light for the property as well, and put the lights on in the evening. I've got to say, it was just so detailed, made us feel really comfortable.
Good.
Yeah, because actually one of the key points, I mean, to me, to show to them at the time was the access road, because was, let's say, good but to be fixed. So I want to be sure that remotely they could, let's say, realize, I mean, that the road was in these conditions.
Sure.
Then in the end, I mean, was pretty good because it's not long and you can fix it easily.
Good. Yeah. And what motivated you to choose our Property Finder service to search for your property in Umbria?
Yes, I actually had been working with another couple of real estate companies before I reached out to Roberto, and I have to say his response was quick, frankly answered everything I wanted, but in a very, I have to say, a very honest way, and that's what you want. He wasn't trying to sell me anything. And then I actually dropped the other real estate companies because I have to say they were slow. I felt like I was being sold to constantly, and they were only using generic information that I could have got on Google. They didn't seem to be very well informed about the properties, so we switched over to using Great Estates, frankly because of Roberto.
Yeah. Alison did a lot of the work for these other agents, whereas Roberto's been doing all the work for us. It's been great.
Good, good. And Roberto, how will you remember working with Alison and Simon?
Well, was a very good experience, a great experience actually to me, because when you start to get in touch with clients, and especially during the pandemic, was always, of course, online and just online. So we had a lot of phone calls and video calls. I remember, well, on Saturday, because of course. Yeah, there was the jet lag, and Alison very busy, Simon the same. So I remember one very nice, or I don't know, funny note. We had online video call for a property in Todi, and she was at the hairdresser. So yes, so we did all the visit. She was busy with the hairdress. Yes, it was just great, just fantastic.
So
I mean, it was great to work with them because they show to me very good proactivity. There was good chemistry since the beginning, because of course they. I know they were, of course, asking a lot of information, and this was totally understandable and right. So I always try to do my best to to provide them all the detailed information. Of course, what Simon has said, or Alison, what you cannot find on Google. No, actually, I don't know the condition of the property, the details of, I don't know, the works or the fixing to do, the cost, the purchase cost, the transaction cost, the ongoing cost, you know, to get really an idea, let's say, the surroundings of a property, no? So I always pin on Google Maps the location, try to explain them as much as I can to build this trust relationship, let's say, from online, which was not easy, but with them was easy. And actually during the pandemic we worked very well with this. During the pandemic, during the 2 months of hard lockdown, our CEO Stefano, let's say, really was a, let's say, a hammer with us to learn, to teach, to understand, and to learn as much as we can to learn working more and more this way from online, because it was sure that some sales online could have been happened.
Yeah, working remotely is not easy for everyone, especially internationally. But I think to build integrity quickly, virtually, is not easy. And so I think Roberto did a great job with that. I felt like I trusted him very quickly because he was detailed and clear, would say things as they were. And the fact that he would come night and day to the properties, or to WhatsApp me or text me or phone, and that's good because communication has to be how the customer wants. And I really like to WhatsApp. It's easy, so that's how we did it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very, very important to establish that relationship of trust, especially when you're working online, especially from remote. So
exactly.
Yeah, and there were some little things there. Them being Australian, some more restrictions to buy. So I've been to notaries and lawyers, try to find solutions, and maybe I said them, we will find a way. Give me just a little bit of time to find the professionals, and we'll do that. So
made it so much easier. Made it so much easier.
Yes, it was busy in February, wasn't it?
I also think you know, Simon and I were talking the other night, we felt like Roberto got to know us and what we wanted. And because we're busy and because we live internationally, probably like so many of the customers, but it's quite a way to Dallas. We didn't want to have to do renovations, so the house is renovation free, which is great. You know, we have to do some things in the garden, but that made it much easier as well, because he wasn't showing us properties that weren't suitable for us. Because once we'd stated what we wanted, I felt like he was very on point with what he showed us, so he wasn't wasting our time.
Which is what you need in an agent. So absolutely,
exactly.
Especially working from far away, working
time differences.
So.
Actually, we did a lot of video visits, then we decided maybe to go more with a GoPro because of the jet lag, and sometimes the connection, the live connection was not, let's say, sometimes easier. But I guess they got really good idea, like if they came for, I don't know, 2-3 days tour here together.
And to buy us, you know, properties sight unseen during a pandemic is not for the faint-hearted. But you know, actually, Great Estates made it very easy.
Good. We're obviously very happy to hear that.
Yeah, because we invested a lot of time in doing. I mean, in trying to learn as much as we can. Because I mean, the world in any case didn't stop, like your company.
No, we had to keep flying.
Didn't stop.
Life goes on, right?
So great in in motivate or doing all the best thing you can. I mean for your company, and so we try to do, let's say, in our smaller, let's say, reality to do the same. And then in the end, when you got really the results was probably double the satisfaction, I guess. Yeah.
So I understand that you had mentioned Great Estate in one of your training courses.
Oh, yes.
Would you like to tell us a little
Simon
more about
knows this story as well. So part of my role, I have a large global sales team, and we of course we were doing virtual training as well as you need to during a pandemic, and it's over 1,000 people in sales. And I actually gave Roberto and Great Estates as the example of a great salesperson to my sales team. And I walked them through exactly how he connected with me, how he was always consistent, always did exactly what he said he was going to do, and also would give me information that made me feel like, one, he knew what he was doing, but wasn't trying to oversell. Nothing worse than you feel like something's being forced on you.
Yeah.
But also he was able to use virtual and WhatsApp and telephone, all his communications he used across all the communication channels, and also he always was very sensitive to the time difference as well. It's only like 6-7 hours at the moment, but I was also traveling a lot, and sometimes it could be 12 hours, right? And so Roberto also was able to make sure that he understood exactly what we wanted, so didn't waste our time by offering things that were of no use to us. And so I think that's really important with customers. It's not so. Roberto is like now the poster boy for my sales team. They all want to meet him.
The model example.
Because he really was just a great example
Yes.
of building trust, credibility, integrity.
So proud.
Yeah, no, really, Roberto, I mean it.
Yeah,
So,
you told,
yeah.
when you told us
Yes,
this
yeah.
in July 2021,
Yes, yes.
Stefano was so proud. Stefano
Oh,
was here.
yeah.
When
And
you
that's
sent
why
when you
I
sent
wrote to him.
the letter to him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I rarely wrote those types of notes, but I just felt Roberto had been so excellent. But also beyond his actual scope, you know, a lot of people, you know, just do their job. He went further because mentioned we were Australian. He helped us with bank accounts. He helped us with legal. He helped us with notaries.
Utilities and everything, getting
Yes.
it organised.
Helped us with the Wi-Fi, and so this goes well beyond, I think, his role.
Sure.
And
It's probably not over yet.
poor man.
To be continued.
And don't forget the last second document from the Chamber of Commerce of Perugia in March. And
Yes,
you
that's
came to sign
right.
it.
Exactly.
Yes.
That was
We had
amazing.
like
Run
2 hours time to get the deed done, so I went to Perugia to
Roberto
get this
got it
document.
done,
I mean,
yeah.
and then they sent it to the notary because I mean now with the pandemic also to work with the public authorities and public offices is become more difficult. Because
Yeah,
sometimes
Challenging.
I think
Yeah,
just
more
reaching
challenging
deadlines,
because
right? Yeah.
I mean, nobody is there. Everybody's not working, so it's difficult to find the right person in the offices where you can maybe sometimes speed up the process of something. So and
Yeah,
then
we
did
never
it.
would have got that done, right? And meeting those deadlines, Roberto's very good at. There wasn't a deadline that he didn't meet for us. So,
Yeah, so-
including running to the office on our last day.
You were here until Friday night, so we did the power of attorney Friday morning or something like that, and then we signed the deed when they were on their way to the airport.
Oh my
So,
goodness.
Yeah.
So
But we did
definitely-
it by Friday night. Friday night.
But I have to say, we're so happy
Yes.
with everything. This is our
Great.
first day, isn't it?
Yes.
And the property is just
Yeah, it's
Spectacular.
beautiful.
Absolutely
Just
just
This view just...
breathtaking, this property.
I was in the pool at 8 p.m. on our first night here, and just looking at the view thinking, my goodness, Roberto really did us the right thing to buy. This is just beautiful, just what we wanted.
In fact, that was, we have time for one more question,
Yeah.
one last question. That was something I wanted to ask is because you both have lived and worked in 7 different countries, and so what made you ultimately decide to choose a property in Umbria?
Well, we've been coming to Italy for many years on holidays, and Alison's been on business trips here many times. This is ideally located between 2 of our favourite cities, Rome and Florence. So we've always loved this area, and you know, you can see why.
Yeah, what's not to love?
Yeah, that's right.
What's not to love?
And we love how quiet it is. To be able
Absolutely.
to not have those, I don't know, police sirens or anything in the background, to have
The noise of the city.
complete calm, and also to see historic castles and towns,
Yeah.
you know, from our pool. That
Yeah.
that is amazing for us as Australians. You know, to think of that castle well before.
yeah.
Yes, yeah, the castle.
Yes, well
definitely
before Australia
is-
was even discovered, beyond
Yeah,
the Aboriginals, of
absolutely.
course, is just amazing to us. Yeah,
Great.
and of
Well,
course we love the wines too.
Of course, the wine. We're in wine country, so.
Exactly.
So, so I think that's all the time we have for today. But I want to obviously thank you both for being here today with us, for sharing your story, and for for working with Great Estate, and I know Roberta is very grateful to you both, and as are we.
Very proud.
No, thank you to Roberto and Great Estates. I really mean it, and we really look forward.
Thanks to both of you.
Yeah, to doing more
It
business
was a great,
with them. Thank you.
great time to work with you. Really, great experience.
Thank you very much.
Really.
And thank you, obviously, everyone for watching, and we'll see you at the next interview.
Thank you.